My project for the web page. I created a web page called entropyport.com. It's basically a web page devoted to the collection of different types of Oracle symbols, and my intent is to have a community of people interested in these types of things, either posting their own images and symbols and descriptions of symbols and how they're interacting with them. I have the theme that I chose is called Mayo. I chose this because it's really great color options. It has a lot of color blocks. If I show you right now, I'll show you the block configuration. So demonstrate block regions here. As you can see, there's a lot of areas to put things on the side, underneath. I wanted a lot of to be able to put a lot of content on the side, so that's why I chose this theme. And let me show you some of the things you can configure within this theme. This is Mayo. Okay, it's really great, really very colorful. You have to have the color box module installed to use this also. But here, like, you can change so here's your preview of what that's going to look like. You can change to any color scheme and get a little preview here. You can also individually change all of these. I have, if you look here, you can see this kind of background bubble filter. That's also something you can configure in the settings here. In the header settings, you see they have different options for filters that you can use, screens over the top of your banner. You can use different ones. You can select the flower. I'll just go back and show you here. I'm going to go pink. You can do, there's a lot of other things you can configure here. I have a logo that I've uploaded. If you don't upload one, it'll use a default logo. You can change some things with the fonts. You can change something with the margins. You can change a little bit of how your menus look. I used the default for everything other than the color settings and the pictures. But so here you go. Really super colorful. I just love that. Okay, I'm going to go back to the way I had it set before, just because I like it better. Pink is a little bit alarming. Header settings, we like the bubble. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Okay, get out of there. Okay, so that's the Mayo theme. Like I said, you do need to have the color box installed, and one other thing about this theme that I found out when I tried to use this live is that you have to have a temp directory in your installation. I think you have to have it set up in your theme. Let me just, it's on my live site. Let me go here. I'll show you. You have to, if you don't put this temp directory in, it won't work. Basically, you'll get all your blocks and everything, but you will not have any of the color. You won't have this background image. You can have your logo will show up, but other things won't. So I think it's in, is it in Mail files? No. It might have been in field image. No. Come on. Here it is. So you have to have this temp directory has to be in your sites default files, and just a empty directory, and that will enable everything. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. But that took a little bit of figuring out. Okay, so that's my theme. Two modules that I used that weren't discussed in class were first one's called Front Page. Front Page allows you to basically have a specific front page chosen for different roles, and that front page can be either a completely separate, almost like just a separate web page, non-Drupal, or it can be themed as mine is, which is using the default settings or the themes for the settings for the theme you've chosen. But basically, I'll show you the module. Okay. Let me quit that. Go to the module. It's called Front Page. Okay. So when you install this, you basically are going to set up your front page for the different roles. So you can have a separate front page for the administrator, for the authenticated user, or for the anonymous user. I have everybody set up the same right now, and everybody's pointing to the same front page. You have to use this front page override. If you don't click this, it won't enable the module. And on top of that, the front page that I've sent them to is running some PHP code that I wrote based on some stuff we learned in the first part of our class. And so I basically have this little piece of code pasted in, and it's running, it's pulling random cards from a set. When I put this in here, I have to have this text format as PHP code. Otherwise, all you would see is the code itself. Like if I had it as filtered HTML, it would just show you code. But you want it to actually run the PHP, you have to have the text format as PHP code. And you can set it to be a different thing for the authenticated user or for the anonymous user. I want everybody coming to the site to go to this page, but I'll show you what happens if I decide to skip it. If I just click that instead and save settings, okay? Now, if I were to, so I'm the administrator, so I'm coming to this front page. Let me just show you how that code works. I've got some cards here, but if you submit, it's going to pull 2 other cards randomly. Okay, and it's like a tarot reading, but these are angel cards. That's basically the idea of it. But if I log out, and now I'm an anonymous user, I'm not directed to that front page, so it is just basically pulling all the articles. I don't want people to come to the site and just have a big bunch of articles to look at. I've separated them out into menu item pages. I want everybody coming to the site to have access to that little piece of fun PHP code. So I'm going to reset my front page. I'm going to reconfigure the front page for the anonymous user, and I'll show you how to do that. Configure. I'm just going to copy the code that I have here. I'm going to use the same code. So I've copied that. I'm going to go to my anonymous user. I'm going to use the themed mode. All right, and I'm going to just paste that PHP code in there, and remember to apply the text format PHP code. I'm going to save the settings. Now, what about these other modes? Well, I've tried full. Basically, I had a web page built, and I directed the front page to that page, but it was outside the Drupal website, and then there's no way to, I couldn't figure out how to get people into the Drupal website if they went to that front page. So obviously the themed layout is much better. It keeps everything contextually similar, and it keeps you on the site. So so you got some links. See, here's where if you want a different page to be the link, then you can actually put it in here too, if you have something specific to your site. Okay, so that's one module that I used. The other module that I've used is a module called Simple News, and it's basically a way to send a newsletter out. When you say, if you're not on my site, you won't see that, but I'm going to log in. Let me create a user. So just so you can see that is working, I'm going to create a little user. Oops, actually I want to create a new account. Let's see, Jennifer. And I'm going to use my school email. So create a new account. Okay, so I've already created this account. So we'll just go with that. We'll go home, we'll log in. So I'll show you that. So as an anonymous user, you can't subscribe to the newsletter, but as a registered user, let's see. Okay, I must have created this account already. Well, this is funny. Let me just log back in as an admin. Let's see what I did here. I'm sorry about that. Let me just see. Do I have anybody here? Oh, okay. We're gonna make her active. Save. Okay. Okay, so now I'll show you. So once you have an account, you can log in and you should, okay, be able to subscribe or unsubscribe to the newsletter. So she's already subscribed, right? I can unsubscribe and subscribe, but you have to be a registered user, authenticated user. Okay, so now that you have your authenticated user subscribed to that newsletter, I can create a newsletter and send it. You can set cron up to run and send emails, send newsletters, but since I'm just sort of in a test mode right now, and I do have this website live at entropyport.com, I don't have it doing any cron tasks. It will only send it when I tell it to. So I can make an email, make a newsletter. It's a new content type called Simple News Newsletter. Okay. I want to add content. So I'm going to add a Simple News Newsletter. Okay. So we'll call this Test News. Okay. I have it set up to send as HTML, and I had a field set up so that I could have a photo go or a picture go with it. But for some reason, this picture won't send in the email. I have to embed the email into I have to embed an image into the code of the email to get it to work. So I have to do like an image source. Of course, I can't remember now how I had it coded. But so by all intent, this picture should be able to go out with it when I send it. So I'm going to save it, and then I can decide to send it. So what I'm going to do is just send one test newsletter to the test address, so you can see that it works. But then you'll also see that although this is the newsletter, right, with a silly little Pikachu my son did, that image doesn't send, even though it should. So if anybody has an idea of how to fix that, I would love to know. But I'm going to submit it, and now you should see, I can show you in my Gmail that I've got test news. Now you see the image is not there. To get the image to send, I would actually have to do like a image source code line, referencing a file, and then it will appear. And I've tested that, but for some reason it doesn't work in this. It doesn't work to just use the uploaded picture. But it does, as you can see, it does send an email. So I have all of my sites set up so that everybody goes to this home page, and then I have these sidebar views of their slideshows that are linked to the content. So if you click on any of those images, you're going to actually come to the content. Okay, I have to add more content, obviously, but they're linked. And so I wanted to set these up so that people had access to them, but that they weren't just articles in there, that if you want to go look at angels, you can look at all of the content about angels. I used tags. I tag anything that's an angel, I tagged as angel, and if I upload a new angel card, it will add to this slideshow, because I set the slideshow up to be, filtering for you know, this slideshow is set to filter for things tagged with angel. This slideshow is set to filter for things tagged with tarot, you know, etc. So I can show you, like, I can add this, add a new, so if I say I may add content and do an article, I'm going to call it, we'll call it, what's a good angel? We'll call it the connecting angel. So there's an image I have. I'm going to tag it with angels. I can give it some content. It's basically describing okay, so just a little piece of content. I'm going to put an image in here. Let's see, I've got some images I can use. Let's see what we've got in here. Okay. Okay. Now the reason why I have, like, I just as an aside, all of these images are just numbered because I'm using random. I'm using, my PHP code actually calls a random number between, say, 0 and 19, and so, and then that I have the variable calling anything. You know, if the random number selected is 13, it's going to pull the image 13. So I'm going to upload this and then save it. And now you can see that content is showing up in the slideshow also. So if I go home, there's new content there. Sometimes it glitches and doesn't switch, but there it goes. Okay, and again, this is just a little PHP code there. So that's my website. I'm still working on developing it. I do have it live at entropyport.com. As I mentioned, in the live site, I am suffering because my email is not working. So for whatever reason it works here, you can create a user on, you know, the local version, but on the remote version, the email doesn't send. It still shows me people that have tried to create logins, but I can show it to you. I'll go entropyport.com. So this is my live site here. It looks like I moved some blocks around a little bit, but as you can see, this is the live site, but when somebody tries to, say, if I log out and I want to create a new, well, I don't have enough email addresses to actually create a new account, so I'm not going to try, but I'll show you. I had some friends of mine take a look at it, and they tried to create accounts, and the email didn't work. No. Okay, the email didn't work, but if I go to people, you can see here, I had this is two of my aunts, my cousin, a friend of mine. They all tried to create logins. I can activate them, but they're not getting the email to go in and you know, check back in. So I have to figure that out, and I will be doing that as I just continue to work on this. So anyway, that's my site. I hope you like it, and if you want to go check it out and give me some feedback, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.